Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman by the name of Andrew. Maybe you may have heard of him. His last name was Johnson. No, he wasn't a black man. But let me explain something to you about Mr. Andrew Johnson. Mr. Andrew, I believe, President of the United States, before it became a corporation. I believe that this act by him was not what they are saying it was. Now, this is my opinion. And so when I give my opinion, I will tell you this is my opinion. It's not based on any facts, it's based on my opinion. Why? Because truth be told. Did you say truth be? I said truth be told. History is relative. History is suggestive. What do you mean by history being suggestive? History is history, mother. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, history is subjective because history is what someone else told us it was. We can't prove history. Wait, you sit up here talk about the Bible? Well, no. See, the Bible's a different thing. What you mean? Well, see, when you have history, we have books. And then we have this book, that book, that book, this book, been handed down, and this story's being told. Well, see, the Bible wasn't done that way. The Bible was written as the events were happening, and events that were to happen were written down before they happened, and they were compiled, and the records were meticulously kept. As a matter of fact, they were meticulously kept for just that reason, so that nobody can say that they changed history. But you have the history books that are produced, and they say things like Christopher Columbus discovered America. Really? And it was named America before he got here, and there were people there. So how can you discover something when somebody's already there? Do you kind of see what we're saying? So history is subjective. Depends on the subject. Depends on the party telling it. Because you have kings, and see, that's the unique thing about the Bible. Its kings did not try to make themselves look good. I mean, look at Solomon. Solomon told people exactly what was on his mind, what he was thinking. And then after him, his people told you all the bad things he did. Now, he never said he never did those bad things. No. Didn't say that. But after he was no longer approved to be writing in that book, other people wrote about him and about the things that he did. Everybody wants to say Solomon was a great man. Solomon was not a great man. Solomon was just a wise man. You know what a great man does? Exactly. You see, a great man accomplishes, a great man finishes, a great man completes. Solomon completed, he accomplished, but he didn't finish. So let's get back to Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, the article says that Andrew overread a veto. Well, I mean, Congress overread Andrew's veto, because Andrew said, y'all ain't passing that bull law. And Congress said, we gonna pass this. We suspending all these other senators from all these other states, so we can pass this. You guys know what bill this is, right? It was called the Civil Rights Bill of 1866. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Civil Rights Act of 1864. This is the 14th Amendment. That's right. Andrew Johnson said no. Not because he was for slaves, not because he was for slavery, just the opposite. He said no. Do your research, people. I just stumbled across this because been up since 3:30. Been a very difficult night. And so it was It was just difficult for some dumb reason. Went to sleep just fine. Slept for almost 7 hours. You went to sleep and you slept for 7 hours. You woke up at 3:40. Let me see. 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ooh, that means you went to sleep real early. Ladies and gentlemen, I sure did. Because I was just tired. But I woke up and everything changed. And it all has to do with health. And I know that everything has changed concerning my health. Oh well, life goes on. You know, there are people out there with multiple sclerosis, dementia, Alzheimer's. There are people out there who have, they're hemophiliacs. There are people out there who are getting cancer, people out there who are getting Ebola. You know, there are people out there who are sicker than I ever can be or will be. So I don't have pity for me. Now what I do have is no tolerance for people making suggestions as to how to better my health. I don't have that tolerance. I say stop, don't think about it, don't do it. You don't want to piss me off. Well, my friend Tyrone Phillips would say, it's better to be pissed off than to be pissed on. And he would joke about that, but after some time, and he used to say that back in the 90s when I knew him, after some time I thought about it and he was absolutely right. It is better to be pissed off than to be pissed on. Because you piss on me, and I'm sorry, you might have to be memorialized. Okay, let's get back to Andrew Johnson, people. Now, watch this. Republicans dominated Congress, enacted the landmark Civil Rights Bill, and this for the first time, this act gave rights to blacks and everyone, no matter what their status was in life. The law's chief thrust was to offer protection for slaves freed in the aftermath of the Civil War. It sought to negate the so-called black codes of the South. Is that what this act sought to do? Hey, that's what they say. Or would it believe that? Of course not. Because if it really sought to do that, then where did we get the Jim Crow? Sorry, my bad. Where did we get the Supreme Court saying that the blacks were only 1/3 of a white man? Now I'm going to show you how this got started, because there was a gentleman doing a video. In the video, he highlighted something. He highlighted a particular code. I want you all to take a look at this code in a moment. Now, it went on to say it sought to negate that, and it says, which undermined the end of slavery as mandated by the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. So this is the codification, well, the 14th Amendment. This is the codification, or the statutory law for the 14th Amendment. Let's go to the codification of the 14th Amendment. Do you guys mind if we go there? Okay. Yeah, because see, they want to focus on race. Okay, 14th Amendment doesn't say nothing about race. Go back and pay attention. Holla if you hear me. One second, everyone. I was listening to a video. Young man, who happens to be a Moor, said that this was the codification of the 14th Amendment. I never paid attention to it. I don't care about Title 42, it's a civil code. But of course it is. 14th Amendment is civil law. Let's pay attention. Equal rights under law. Ladies and gentlemen, equal rights under law does not come from the 14th Amendment. Equal rights under law comes from the 5th Amendment. Due process. Equal rights under law is a principle. Doesn't have to be codified. Anyway, let's continue. All persons within the jurisdiction of the United States shall have the same rights as in every state, territory, and to make and enforce contracts, to sue, be parties, give evidence, and to the full and equal benefits of the laws and proceedings for the security of persons and property as enjoyed by white citizens Oh, see, that person right there was a race thing. No, it wasn't. You guys don't understand. White citizens, that was only the men. That didn't include the women. Women had no rights back then. Go back and take a look. The women had no rights under the Constitution. Okay? They recognized men only. That's where the story comes from. Men's only. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all they recognized. Back then, they didn't recognize the women. That lets you know that this law was not created for that. Now, according to this, that they have the same rights as white citizens. Now, notice it said citizens. Now, if they had said private citizens, whew, then that would have changed a whole lot. That is the point. So the Congress, if you do your research on the so-called 14th Amendment, hold on one second, y'all. Come on now. 14th Amendment. We gotta wait, y'all, for the 14th Amendment. I gotta come here and watch this. We gotta get rid of that act stuff. 1-4. Okay, I put in here, uh-oh, it didn't do it. It didn't do it. Hold on one second. Members not allowed to vote. Not gonna let me do that. Oh, that was me yawning. It's a long morning. Uh-oh, gotta get my S. Uh-oh. Don't know where that came from. Uh-oh, get my N-A-L. Congressional E-M. And that takes care of that. So let's see if we can find the article on the congressional members who were not allowed to vote. The reason why you hear so many people talk about the ratification of the 14th Amendment, what happens is after the Civil War, because the other states were deemed to be in rebellion of the Constitution, they weren't permitted to vote on the 14th Amendment, even though it was held that they would not be penalized. They were. Okay? So, when you go back and the Supreme Court said it was legal, okay? Hold on, where is this coming from? It says the 14th Amendment gives young adults between the age of 18 and 21 the right to vote. No, that's the 16th Amendment. I said 14th Amendment. That's 16th Amendment. We don't care about that. Alright. Applied only to federal, not state elections. Okay, we don't care about that. I said 14th Amendment, and I'm looking for the fact that they prohibited individuals from voting on the 14th Amendment. Don't care about the, let's see. I pulled this up from an actual case where a judge put it in the case, and he explained the 14th Amendment and the election and how that individuals, oh, okay, I put congressional members, let's see. Yeah, that's Google. This I changed the browser, so I'm gonna have to change that. And I thought I did. No, this is a different browser. That's what it is. This is a new browser that I just put on, so that's why it has Google. Because I told y'all I ain't using Google no more. But I apologize. I do apologize. It says the amendment authorized government to punish states that oblige citizens' right to vote, proportionally reducing blah 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 blah. See, it says Congress required former Confederate states to ratify the 14th Amendment as a condition of regaining federal representation. But the only problem is it wouldn't allow those congressional members to vote. It said because they were on the opposite side that they waived their right to participate in the 14th Amendment voting and enactment process. Okay, so when I tell you that I do not believe that Mr. Andrew was sitting up there trying to, keep slavery going because that was all a smokescreen, that's my opinion. I give you that. That is my opinion. Okay, it's just that simple. Now I agree with the guy who did the video that we have the racism because remember, nothing changed. We still had Jim Crow. We still had the white fountain, black fountain. Notice this society has never done that with any other group of people. Now, yeah. They've hated Hispanics. Yes, they've hated Asians. Yes, they've hated this. They've hated that. But never have they done to any of those other group of people what they've done to the individuals of darker skin. Pigmentation. Now, I don't care because I refuse. See, I couldn't have lived in that time because they would have had to force a hanging on me because, sorry, it just never would have happened. And I can say that with all truthfulness. I am not nobody's uncle. My name has never been Tom. And I know for a fact that if I had lived in that era, that they would have had to come at me massively and take my own life away from me because I never would have stood up for that. Harriet wouldn't have had nothing on me. And what's that other, I can't even think of his name right now. Turner ain't had nothing on me. Y'all know the Turner I'm talking about. The Turner who sat up there and caused a whole lot of problems. Yeah, he ain't got nothing on me, but man after my own heart if I had lived in that era. But fortunately for all of mankind, I don't live in that era. Fortunately, I live in this era. Fortunately for all of mankind, I'm required to love my neighbor. Fortunately. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to give a spill on 1866. Those of you who have a problem with one race or another, you don't even realize the conditioning. You don't realize that that's not natural for you to hate somebody because of their skin color. There is nothing natural about that. You don't realize that. So if you dislike somebody because of their skin color or because of their anything, look, people make choices and sometimes people make dumb choices, but that does not give you the right to judge them for the choice that they make. You don't have that right because once you exercise the right to judge another person, you waive the right against being judged yourself. So you cannot complain when somebody says something about you, but you won't get that. You won't understand that, and they're not going to tell you that. But if you go to court talking about, well, he said I was a big, ignorant, stupid moron, and then the other person says, yeah, I watched South Park, and the judge be like, what? I watched South Park. It's the type of stuff you tell people in South Park, so I say the same thing. He's a big, stupid, ignorant moron. Judge says, I find that the statement made by the defendant is true. You are a big, stupid, ignorant moron. I'm dismissing this case, and you bring it back before me, I'm going to hit you with sanctions. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on in our society is every time you turn on the news, negative, 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 negative. And they're always asking for people's opinion. And then Trump is always being highlighted in the news. I mean, he gets more publicity now than he ever did. Well, that's because he's president. No, it's not because he's president of the United States. It's because he's doing these outrageous and stupid things. And people think that it's not an act. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Jackson told you guys, all publicity is good publicity. Michael Jackson did a bunch of stupid and outrageous, dumb things, and look what it did for his career. All publicity is good publicity. Trump knows that, and he's playing the camera perfectly. 2 more years. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, let me let you go. This was just me talking, especially about the issue of slavery and the Title 22 or 42. Ladies and gentlemen, the issue of the contracts. You all need to understand that it's under the contract clause. All contracts are fully enforceable. That's your purpose. That's your aim. You don't need to argue with the courts anymore. You don't need to debate with them. If you have the contract, the one, the incarcerated one, and somebody's trying to take you to trial, you simply go to the judge and say, "Excuse me, Your Honor. Excuse me, Your Honor. Excuse me. May I?" Well, no. I'm going to speak now because I have the right to speak, so I'm going to speak now. I'm not going to ask for your permission to speak. Now, I don't want to talk out of turn, out of order, but you've been doing all this talking, and the law says that I have the same right to do some talking. So, since you want to talk and get your point across on the record because you got your little stenographer and you want to make sure when the appeals court review this that you've said everything you need to say on the record, then I have the same right to place the same information rebutting your presumptions on the record. Because that's why you're doing all that talking. You're doing it for review purposes. Because you know the appeals court is going to review it and they're looking to see if you said something and if I didn't say anything in reply. So let's make sure we understand. You say something on the record, I'm going to rebut you. Because I ain't got no other choice. Now look, my contract is with the United States. Now you see that Attorney General right there? Alright, the Attorney General is the one who determines whether or not to prosecute a crime against the United States. Or the people of the United States. Well, see that crime right there you charged me with? That's one of those commercial crimes. You can't do it. What do you mean? Well, if you charge me with a commercial crime, that means you're sitting up here practicing commerce. If you're practicing commerce, you ain't got no right to do that without my consent. I ain't consenting. Now that's the first thing. Second thing, the contract's with the Attorney General. Attorney General says there's no charge. Here's the contract. The Attorney General says there's no charge. What you doing? You can't step over this contract. This contract is 100% enforceable. Let's do that. I was going to kill this video, but I stepped off on that thing right there, and we going to, like, say, the RIGHE. Uh-oh. The right to contract. The right to contract. The doctrine that states that people have the right to legally bind them is known as the freedom of contract. It's not freedom, it's the right. Freedom of contract is a judicial concept, really, which holds that contracts are based on mutual agreement and free choice. Therefore, contracts are not to be hampered by external controls such as government interference. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't care about the freedom of contract. We care about the right to contract clause. See, the right to contract clause is just that. Your right to contract with whomever you want. Now notice this, liberty to contract. See, they want to say freedom. Nah, This ain't about no freedom. And you see how this one says the 13th Amendment? Well, the 13th Amendment is not the amendment that gave you the right to contract. The 14th Amendment, pay attention so that you all get this, because a lot of you won't get this. The 14th Amendment wasn't all slavery. There were other provisions of the 14th Amendment. Okay, so the 14th Amendment doesn't make you a citizen as a whole. Each section covered its own issue. That's why it's the 14th Amendment section number 1 that you don't want to have no part of. Okay? You don't want to have no part of that. But let's do this because See, wait, let's take a look at that. I just saw something. Let's do, yeah, it's gone. It was there. The right to disaffirm a contract. Okay, let's do this. We gon' CLAUSE. Or the contract clause. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1. The clause prohibits the state from passing a law that impairs the obligation of contract or makes anything but gold and silver coin tender a payment of debts. Ladies and gentlemen, they cannot impair the obligation of your contract, including your contracts with the United States government. They don't have the right. Oh, and by the way, making anything but gold and silver coins a tender of payment of debts. Remember, they have not made, what do you call it, the Federal Reserve notes legal tender. Okay, it only says it on the note. There's nothing in law that says Federal Reserve notes are legal tender. It says, people have been arguing this, they've been looking at it wrong. The clause prohibits a state, not the United States. It prohibits a state from passing any law that impairs the obligation of contract or prohibits a state from making anything but gold and silver coin tender a payment for debts. It's not the federal government. People have not been paying attention to that. So watch this so that you guys get it. No, not that one. Uh-oh, it was typing in the wrong spot. I apologize. It's still not typing in the spot that it's supposed to. What y'all doing? Alright, let's do that again. I am going to have to calibrate my touchpad because that's the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, legal tender status. That's what you need to do right now on your computers. Go to legal tender status. The first one you want to go to is not this Investopedia. We could care less. We want to go to this one. This is January 4th, 2011. This is the Treasury. Okay. Now remember, Article 1, Section 10, Clause number 1 talks about your right to contract, or the contract clause. Ladies and gentlemen, that only applies to states. It does not apply to a so-called federal government or federal government agency, such as the United States Treasury. Now, this is what you need to know so that you'll know that the Treasury in printing Federal Reserve notes has not violated a single law. They're not violating provisions of the Constitution. Pay attention. Say they can't make anything but gold or silver legal tender for the payment of debts. Pay attention. Federal Reserve notes are not redeemable in gold or silver. So they haven't violated the law. It says they receive no backing by anything. Pay attention. The notes have no value for themselves. Pay attention. Are you paying attention? So the notes are not redeemable. They have no value. They're not backed by anything. So they have not impaired that clause of the contract, that clause of the Constitution. They've not impaired that. All you got to do is pay attention. I didn't write it. I just, like I said, realized what it said. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I ask that you have a good day, have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon. Whatever it is, have it good. Goodbye. Adios. Arrivederci, sayonara.